Our first simple stretch is to touch your toes. Yes, those toes, way down there. Welcome to Simple Stretches. The concept of these videos is really simple. Teachers just need a bit of flexibility right now. We're going to learn some stretches. Well, not really stretches, but the idea is there. These are things that will help you with your asynchronous, your synchronous, your face-to-face, any kind of distance learning. All of these methods should be somewhat helpful to you. So this whole week is 5 lessons devoted to motivation, which was the #1 concern in the spring of 2020. Students just didn't feel motivated to dig in and learn in the online environment, and we need to think about that. We want to change it, and we want it to be different in the new school year. So, in this video, it's about usability, creating a clear, accessible, and thoughtful design for your online presence. In other words, we're going to start with how to avoid frustration. There is nothing worse than a demotivated student, all because they just couldn't figure out where to go and where to click on and that. So I'm starting at my favorite emoji website, getemoji.com. And emojis are not just for texting, although they really do help with young children as far as being able to explain their emotions. But what I'm using it for today is color coding, visualizing what the task is. And the reason why is because a lot of our learning management systems, and I mentioned Google Classroom, are really just not very colorful, and that does not signal very well. It doesn't cue. So let's scroll down a lot further than all of these lovely emojis that show things, all kinds of people and objects. And I'm coming down to the symbols section. And the reason why is because you'll note these are very colorful. And I am using probably the simplest color set here, the squares. I'm going to use those to indicate a file type. So here's an example of a key that I might post for kids at the beginning of the year. In Google Classroom, every time I make an assignment, it's going to be green. Every time it's an announcement, red, and so forth. So let's take a look at what that might look like in Google Classroom. So here is the stream for a class. And every time I post something, you can see there's a little square color. It differentiates from student postings that do not have colors. And then if you hop over to classwork, you can see here all of my postings have some kind of an indication of what type of task they are. So that's one visual cue. Topics in Google Classroom are really good to help with organization. So let's start with the one I'm using right now, which is units and in sequential order. I've numbered them, I've named them by topics, and as you scroll down, they're in complete order. I want to thank Matt Miller right now from Ditch That Textbook, because he also wrote a post about organizing your Google Classroom, and he has a few other ideas. So his first idea is by week, and this might really be good for distance learning. His second idea is again by units. Third idea is by topic, so that's similar to what I was showing you, but it's mixing both unit and topic. And his last idea is the task or the file type. I'm going to show you one more that I think works very nicely for a completely asynchronous online class, and you won't notice it in the stream as much, but if the students click on classwork, this is a module-based in sequential order. So you'll see Module 1, Module 2, Module 3, And for those that aren't really clear about topics in Google Classroom, maybe you're just getting started, that would be under the Create button, and it's the very last item, Topic, and you can create as many as you like. You can even move them around. So let's say I want to move module number 2 to the top. There you go. You just click and drag. So our next simple stretch is a common teaching practice called chunking, but the one I want to emphasize is called chunking by screen. In other words, imagine that you're taking a large body of information and you're breaking it into small pieces based on how much fits on the computer screen. Let's take a look at what that might look like in a lesson plan. So our normal 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, if you look at it in terms of the screen, you realize you got to scroll. In order to chunk your information, put a line halfway down and keep in mind that anything up the top should be no more than about 3 to 5 pieces of new information, and then below it the same. Another way to look at this is through visual. And chunking using tables inside your document or color also helps students process much better. Age-appropriate kind of chunking can be done with your headings or the way you lay out the material, or maybe even some big reminders in the middle. I'm going to give credit to Jennifer Gonzalez, who is the author of Cult of Pedagogy, and she really inspired me with the concept of multimodal instructions. In a face-to-face classroom, you definitely have an easy out, because even if you're handing out written textual instructions, you are there to clarify on the spot, or you can read them aloud, or you can elaborate. In an online environment, really, you need to plan to do that ahead of time. One way to be multimodal is to add audio. And again, I mentioned that Google Slides is a great example of chunking. You can also quickly add audio instructions to accompany your text instructions. What we might want to see here is a video of your instructions alongside your written instructions. And with Jennifer's recommendations, she says, make sure that you're not reading verbatim what the text says, but instead using your personality, using the demonstration, using some examples to clarify for students what it is that you are asking them to do. Check out all the resources and how-tos on the Simple Stretches website.